In the previous video, I looked at how the programmer solved the problem of creating a physical mass, space, and time from mathematical structures. In this video, I want to demonstrate how the programmer stores and manipulates this dimensioned information within these mathematical structures by using the electron as an example. For simulation universe programmers, we could call this fundamental problem number 2. We use physical constants to define our universe. These are numbers with units. The number depends on the unit used. We can measure the speed of light using miles or meters or feet or whatever. The numbers will change accordingly. This is because the number is just the frequency of that unit. Light travels 300 million meters in 1 second or 186,000 miles in 1 second. When we look at these constants, we can add more to this table, of course, and we see that they are just different ways to measure these units: kilogram, meter, second, ampere, Kelvin. So why not bypass the constants and measure the units directly? And indeed, over 100 years ago, a Professor Max Planck offered that there could be a set of natural units, the units used by the universe itself, which would be a unit of mass, a unit of time, a unit of length, a unit of charge. And these are known as the Planck units, unsurprisingly. And this seems to be what the programmer has done. Each of these Planck units has been assigned a geometrical object. And so we don't need a number or a unit. The function or attribute of mass or time or length is built into the geometry. This means that they do not just represent mass, space, and time. These objects are mass, space, and time. For example, this v is the speed of light. And so the speed of light is a geometrical object. This L is the object for length. And so what we see as a straight line is actually a set of these L objects in series. Object T, as pi suggests rotation. And so we may equate rotation with time. Mass M is simply a point. These objects are the geometries of two numbers. One is the famous fine structure constant alpha. The second is this omega. This alpha and omega are dimensionless. They have no units. And so these objects are, in this form, also dimensionless. And so it could be that object M exhibits the function of mass when in the presence of the objects for time and length. And so there need not be an actual physical mass. If so, then particles such as electrons would concurrently have mass, wavelength, frequency, and charge. This would then require that these geometries must somehow be able to link to each other, so that I could take these objects and combine them Lego style to form more complex objects, such as electrons, and from there, planets and stars. The relationship between the MLTA objects can be represented by a unit number, as in this table. It is this unit number relationship that the programmer used to create our physical mass, space, and time, as discussed in the previous video. In that video, I referred to a basic mathematical structure denoted Fx. We have an example of an Fx. It is the electron. We can denote this Fe. Instead of mass, length, and time, for the electron we will use charge, length, and time. We can now construct Fe such that the RV units cancel. This is all explained in the previous video, but this time we will include those geometries. Thus, we can solve this electron formula Fe. Just as a note, our electron was constructed using ampere meters in time. The ampere meter is the unit for the elusive magnetic monopole, which physics has been vainly searching for, but without success. In summary, this electron formula Fe is the electron. It is a dimensionless formula, and so the electron itself, although it has dimension parameters of wavelength, charge, and so forth, is a mathematical particle. There is no physical electron, which may be why physics has never found the electron either, although they can measure its parameters accurately. We find that our solutions agree with the experimental data with a good accuracy. Besides electron wavelength and mass and charge, I have included the Rydberg constant. This is because it is known to about 12 to 13 digits. And this is where the programmer shows true genius, for not only are the electron parameters of mass, wavelength, charge embedded within this electron, Fe also dictates their use. In other words, everything we need to make an electron is encoded within that formula Fe, and that formula is the geometry of only two numbers, alpha and omega. This means that our fundamental physical constants can be derived ultimately from these two numbers. We will look at that in the next video, because these constants also embed the evidence that we are in a simulation.